The alarm on the bridge of the Harmony's edge made everyone jump. Captain Yuki looked up from her reports with worry. The ship was flying through empty space, far from any known planets or stations. "What is that sound?" she asked. Gina pressed buttons on her control panel. Her blue skin turned pale as she read the screen. "Captain, we are getting a distress signal. It is very weak." "From where?" "I think it is coming from a ship, but the signal keeps stopping and starting." Captain Yuki stood up. She was tall and thin, like most of her people. The Villani were known for being peaceful and kind. "Can you tell what kind of ship it is?" Gina worked on her controls for a few minutes. "It looks like a human ship, but that cannot be right. There are no humans in this part of space." Dr. Minho walked onto the bridge. He was the ship's doctor and studied different types of aliens. "Did someone say human? I have never seen a real human before." "Neither have I," said Captain Yuki. "But if there is someone in trouble, we must help them." "Gina, can you find the ship?" "Yes, Captain, it is about 2 hours away if we go fast." "Then we go fast. Tell everyone to get ready. If we find people, they might need medical help." The Harmony's Edge was a research ship. It had scientists from many different worlds working together. They explored new places and studied strange things they found in space. But they were not soldiers. They carried no weapons and always tried to solve problems with words, not fighting. As they flew toward the signal, Dr. Minho got his medical room ready. He had equipment that could help almost any type of alien. But humans were a mystery. To him, he had only read about them in old books. "Captain," called Suman from her navigation station, "I can see the ship now. It is very small and looks damaged." Captain Yuki looked at the main screen. The human ship was dark and spinning slowly. Parts of it were broken off. It looked like it had been in a terrible accident. "Are there any life signs?" asked Dr. Minho. Suman checked her instruments. "I think so, but very weak. Maybe one person." "We need to bring them onto our ship," said Captain Yuki. "Deho, can you connect our ship to theirs?" Deho was the chief engineer. He was good at fixing things and solving problems. "I think so, Captain, but their ship looks ready to break apart. We must be very careful." It took an hour to connect the two ships safely. Kyung, the security chief, went with Dr. Minho to check the human ship. They wore special suits to protect them from the cold and lack of air. The inside of the human ship was dark and cold. Broken wires hung from the ceiling. The air smelled bad. In the back of the ship, they found a small room with someone inside. It was a young human woman. She was unconscious and very thin. Her skin was pale, and she was breathing very slowly. "She is still alive," said Dr. Minho with surprise. "But barely. How long has she been like this?" Kyung looked around the room. There were empty food containers and water bottles everywhere. "Look at all this. She has been here for a long time. Any other person would be dead by now." They carefully moved the human woman to their ship. Dr. Minho put her in his medical room and started checking her health. Captain Yuki and the others waited outside. "How is she?" asked Captain Yuki. "It is amazing," said Dr. Minho. "She has been without much food or water for weeks. The air in her ship was almost gone. The temperature was freezing, but somehow she is still alive. Will she be okay?" "I think so, but it will take time. Her body is very strong, much stronger than I expected." For 3 days, the human woman slept. The crew took turns watching her. They were all curious about the first human they had ever seen. She looked similar to some other species they knew, but there was something different about her. Something that made her seem tough. On the 4th day, she woke up. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked around the medical room with confusion. When she saw Dr. Minho, she tried to sit up quickly. "Do not move too fast," said Dr. Minho in the human language. He had been studying it while she slept. "You are safe now." The woman stared at him. You are not human." "No, I am Altarian. My name is Dr. Minho. You are on the ship Harmony's Edge. We found your ship and rescued you. Tears started running down her face. I thought I was going to die. I thought no one would find me. What is your name? Asked Dr. Minho kindly. Hana. My name is Hana. Captain Yuki came into the room. Hana looked at her with wide eyes. This is Captain Yuki, said Dr. Minho. She is the leader of this ship. Thank you, said Hana. Thank you for saving me. Captain Yuki smiled. We are glad we found you. Can you tell us what happened to your ship? Hana's face became sad and angry. It was not an accident. We were prisoners. Prisoners? Asked Captain Yuki. Yes. My people, the humans, we are slaves. The Dominion Empire captured our world 50 years ago. They make us work in dangerous places all over the galaxy. Dr. Minho and Captain Yuki looked at each other with shock. That cannot be true, said Captain Yuki. Slavery is illegal everywhere. Not where the Dominion rules, said Hana. They use us because we can survive in places where other people would die. We work in mines with poison gas. We fix machines in space without protection. We build things on planets where the air burns. Your lungs. But why you? Asked Dr. Minho. What makes humans different? Hana tried to explain. We are hard to kill. We can live in hot and cold places. We can breathe bad air for a long time. We can go without food and water longer than most people. And we heal fast when we get hurt. Captain Yuki felt sick. How many humans are there? Billions, said Hana. Spread across hundreds of worlds, all working as slaves. Where were you going when your ship broke? To the Kepler mining sector. 100 of us were being sent to work in the deep mines there. But something went wrong with the ship. Everyone else died. I was the only one who survived long enough for you to find me. The room was quiet for a long time. Finally, Captain Yuki spoke. We must tell the coalition about this. They will help. Hana shook her head sadly. The coalition cannot help. The Dominion is too powerful. They would start a war. Then what do we do? Asked Dr. Minho. Nothing, said Hana. Just take me somewhere safe and forget about the rest of my people. That is what everyone else does. But Captain Yuki was thinking. She looked at this brave human woman who had survived impossible conditions. She thought about billions of people, like her suffering as slaves. No, she said firmly. We will not forget. We will find a way to help. Captain Yuki called a meeting with her senior officers. They sat around the table in the main conference room. Hana was there too, looking much better after a week of rest and good food. I have been thinking about what Hana told us, said Captain Yuki. We cannot just ignore this. But Captain, said Kyung, the Coalition Command told us not to interfere with other governments, even bad ones. I know what they said, replied Captain Yuki. But sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following orders. Daeho leaned forward. What do you want to do? I want to see for myself. Hana, can you show us where these slave camps are? Hana looked worried. It is very dangerous. If the Dominion catches you, they will kill you or make you slaves too. We will be careful, said Captain Yuki. Our ship has good hiding technology. We can watch from far away. Dr. Minho studied his tablet. I have been reading about humans since Hana arrived. Your people are very unusual. You can survive in conditions that would kill my people in minutes. That is why the Dominion uses us, said Hana sadly. We are like tools to them. Tools that can think and work, but tools all the same. Gina had been quiet until now. Hana, do you know the codes for Dominion? Communications, can you help us listen to their messages? Some of them, said Hana. I used to fix their communication equipment. Captain Yuki made her decision. Then we go. We will visit one of these camps and see what is really happening. 2 days later, the Harmony's Edge arrived at the Kepler mining sector. It was a group of asteroids filled with valuable metals. The Dominion had built a large station there to process the ore. I can see the mining camp, said Suman from her navigation station. There are many ships and a big station. Use the hiding technology, ordered Captain Yuki. We do not want them to see us. Daiho pressed buttons on his control panel. The ship became invisible to most sensors. We are hidden, Captain. Good. Gina, can you pick up any communications? Gina listened to her equipment for a few minutes. Yes, I can hear them talking. Hana, can you help me understand what they are saying? Hana put on headphones and listened. Her face became very sad. They are talking about the work quotas. They want the humans to mine more ore every day. They say if the humans cannot meet the quota, they will not get food. Dr. Minho was using his medical scanners to study the mining station. Captain, I am detecting thousands of life forms on that station. Most of them are human. What are the conditions like? Asked Captain Yuki. Terrible. The air has poison gas in it. The temperature is very hot. The radiation levels would kill most species in hours. But not humans, said Hana quietly. We can work there for years before it kills us. Kyung was watching the security screens. I can see them working. There are humans outside the station with no protection. They are working on the outside of the asteroids. Captain Yuki looked at the screen. She could see small figures in simple suits crawling over the rocky surfaces. They were digging with basic tools in the vacuum of space. How can they survive out there? Asked Suman. Human bodies are very adaptable, explained Hana. We can hold our breath for a long time. Our blood can carry oxygen better than other species, and our skin is tough. Dr. Minho was amazed. I am reading their life signs. They have been working for 12 hours straight. Any other species would be dead. Gina suddenly looked excited. Captain, I found something in their communications. They are not just using humans for work. What do you mean? Asked Captain Yuki. They are studying them. The Dominion scientists are doing experiments to understand how humans survive so well. Hana's face went pale. What kind of experiments? Gina listened more carefully. They are testing how long humans can work without rest, how much radiation they can take, how they solve problems under stress. Why would they want to know that? Asked Daiho. To make their own soldiers stronger, said Hana with horror. If they learn our secrets, they can make super soldiers. Captain Yuki felt sick. This was worse than simple slavery. We need to get closer. I want to see more. Captain, that is very dangerous, warned Kyung. I know, but we need proof. The coalition will not believe us without proof. They moved the ship closer to the mining station. Through the powerful telescopes, they could see inside some of the windows. What they saw made everyone angry. Humans were working in terrible conditions. They were thin and tired, but they kept working. Some were clearly sick, but they had no choice but to continue. Look at that, said Dr. Minho, pointing to one window. That human is fixing a machine while it is still running. The sparks are burning his skin, but he does not stop. And there, said Suman, those humans are carrying metal that is so hot, it glows. But they are not wearing gloves. Hana wiped tears from her eyes. That is what we do. We survive because we have to. We adapt because there is no choice. Suddenly, alarms started going off on their ship. What is happening? Asked Captain Yuki. A Dominion patrol ship is coming this way, said Kyung. I think they detected us. Can we escape? Asked Captain Yuki. Not without them seeing us, said Daiho. They will know someone was spying on them. Hana stood up suddenly. I have an idea, but you will not like it. What? Asked Captain Yuki. Drop me off in an escape pod. I will tell them I escaped from a transport ship. They will think I am just another runaway slave. No, said Captain Yuki. We will not abandon you. You have to, said Hana. If they catch all of you, no one will know the truth about my people. This is the only way. Dr. Minho checked his scanners. The patrol ship will be here in 10 minutes. Captain Yuki looked at her crew. They all nodded sadly. Hana was right. "I do not like this," said Captain Yuki. "Neither do I," said Hana. "But sometimes we must do things we do not like to help others." They quickly put Hana in an escape pod with some basic supplies. She made it look like she had been drifting in space for days. "Remember," she said before they closed the pod, "tell the Coalition what you saw. Make them understand." "We will," promised Captain Yuki. "And we will come back for you." "Do not make promises you cannot keep," said Hana with a sad smile. They launched the escape pod and watched as the Dominion patrol ship found it. The Harmony's Edge hid behind an asteroid and waited. They heard the Dominion soldiers talking to Hana on the radio. "Another escaped slave," said one soldier. "Take her to the processing center." "Should we search the area?" asked another. "Why?" "Slaves do not have ships. She probably hid in a cargo container or something." The patrol ship took Hana away. Captain Yuki and her crew watched helplessly as their friend was captured again. "We failed her," said Gina sadly. "No," said Captain Yuki firmly. "She saved us so we could save others. We will not let her sacrifice be for nothing." As they flew away from the mining sector, Captain Yuki made a promise to herself. She would find a way to help the humans. All of them. But first she had to convince the Coalition that it was the right thing to do. The journey back to Coalition space took 3 days. During that time, the crew worked together to prepare their report. They had recordings, pictures, and data about what they had seen. "Do you think the Coalition will believe us?" asked Sumin. "They have to," said Captain Yuki. "The evidence is too strong to ignore." Dr. Minho was still studying his medical data about humans. "I cannot believe how strong they are, not just physically, but mentally too. Hana sacrificed herself to save us. That takes incredible courage." "All humans seem to be like that," said Gina. "Even in the recordings I heard stories of humans helping each other even when they were suffering. That is what makes them special," said Captain Yuki. "They do not just survive. They care about others." As they approached Coalition headquarters, Captain Yuki knew that everything was about to change. What they had discovered would shock the entire galaxy. The question was, would anyone be willing to do something about it? The Coalition High Council chamber was the largest room Captain Yuki had ever seen. Representatives from 50 different worlds sat in curved rows that went up to the ceiling. Each species looked different, but they all shared one thing. They believed in peace and cooperation. At the center of the room stood a small platform where people could speak. Captain Yuki walked slowly toward it, carrying a datapad with all their evidence. "The council will hear Captain Yuki of the research vessel Harmony's Edge," announced the speaker. "An ancient being whose species was older than most civilizations." Captain Yuki stepped onto the platform. She looked up at hundreds of faces watching. Some looked curious, some looked bored, and some looked annoyed that their meeting had been interrupted. "Honored council members," she began. 3 weeks ago, my crew and I discovered something terrible. There is a species in our galaxy that is being enslaved. Billions of people are forced to work in conditions that would kill any of us." A murmur went through the crowd. Chancellor Vex, who led the conservative faction, stood up. He was a large gray-skinned being who did not like changes. "Captain Yuki," he said in a deep voice, "slavery has been illegal in civilized space for over 1,000 years. Surely you are mistaken." "I wish I were," replied Captain Yuki, "but I have proof." She activated her datapad. Images appeared on the large screens around the chamber. The council members gasped as they saw humans working in the terrible conditions of the mining station. Dr. Minho had prepared detailed medical reports. The screen showed how humans could survive in environments where other species would die in minutes. "This species is called humanity," explained Captain Yuki. "Their home world was conquered 50 years ago by the Dominion Empire. Since then, they have been used as slave labor across the galaxy." A representative from the peaceful Andrari species raised her hand. "But why have we not heard of this before?" Because the Dominion keeps them in remote areas, said Captain Yuki. And because most people do not believe that such things still happen. The images continued to play. The Council saw humans working in poison gas, handling burning metal, and surviving in the vacuum of space with minimal protection. Young Ambassador Borum from the Scientific Union stood up. She was known for speaking the truth, even when people did not want to hear it. These images are shocking, she said. But what can we do? The Dominion Empire is very powerful. They have more ships than we do. Are you suggesting we do nothing? Asked Captain Yuki. I am suggesting we be realistic, replied Chancellor Vex. We cannot start a war to save one species. Think of all the lives that would be lost. Captain Yuki felt her anger rising. So we should let billions of people suffer as slaves. It is unfortunate, said Chancellor Vex, but we must think of the greater good. Dr. Minho had been watching from the visitors section. Captain Yuki had brought him to answer medical questions. Now he asked permission to speak. Honored Council, he said when they allowed him to approach the platform. I am a doctor and a scientist. I have studied the medical data we collected about humans. He activated his own datapad. New images appeared on the screens. This species is remarkable, he continued. They can adapt to almost any environment. Their immune systems can fight diseases that would kill other species. Their bodies can heal from injuries that would be permanent for us. What is your point, Doctor? Asked Chancellor Vex. My point is that humans are not just victims, they are survivors. And if we help them, they could help us too. A representative from the mining guild leaned forward. How could they help us? Doctor, Minho smiled. Humans can work in places we cannot go, but unlike the Dominion, we would ask them to work as partners, not slaves. They could help us explore dangerous planets, mine in toxic environments, and research in conditions that are too risky for other species. You want to use them just like the Dominion does, accused a voice from the crowd. No, said Dr. Minho firmly. The Dominion forces them to work and gives them nothing in return. We would offer them homes, families, freedom, and fair payment. For their help. Ambassador Borum stood up again. Dr. Minho, do you really think humans would help us after what they have suffered? Captain Yuki answered instead. I met a human named Hana. She saved my crew by sacrificing her own freedom. Even after years of slavery, she still helped strangers. That tells us what kind of people they are. The debate went on for hours. Some council members were moved by what they saw and wanted to help. Others worried about the cost of fighting the Dominion. Finally, the speaker called for quiet. We will hear from those who have actually met beings from the Dominion territories. Old representative from the border world shuffled to the platform. His name was Elder Cree and his people lived near Dominion space. I am very old, he said in a weak voice. I have seen many terrible things, but I want to tell you about something good I saw. The chamber became very quiet. 5 years ago, a Dominion transport ship crashed near our world. We went to help, even though we knew it was dangerous. Inside the ship, we found prisoners of many different species. Elder Cree paused to catch his breath. The prisoners were hurt and scared, but there was a group of humans who were taking care of everyone else. They had been slaves for years, but they still helped other people. They gave their food to children of other species. They used their clothes to bandage wounds of strangers. He looked around the chamber. When we offered to take everyone to safety, the humans asked us to help the others first. They said they could wait. That is the kind of people they are. More representatives came forward with similar stories. They told of humans who helped other species escape from Dominion territory, even when it meant greater punishment for themselves. The mood in the chamber began to change. Even some conservative members looked troubled by what they were hearing. Ambassador Borum requested permission to speak again. Honored Council, she said, we call ourselves civilized. We say we believe in freedom and justice, but what good are our beliefs if we do not act on them? She pointed to the screens that still showed images of human slaves. These people have suffered for 50 years. They have been treated like animals. but they still show kindness to others. If we abandon, then what does that say about us? Chancellor Vex tried to argue. But the cost of war is terrible, interrupted Ambassador Borum. But the cost of doing nothing is worse. If we allow slavery to continue, we become part of it. The chamber erupted in discussion. Representatives argued with each other in dozens of different languages. Captain Yuki watched and waited. She thought about Hana, who was probably back in some terrible prison camp. She thought about all the humans who were suffering while politicians debated. Finally, the speaker called for a vote. All those in favor of offering protection and aid to humanity, raise your symbols. Lights began appearing around the chamber. Captain Yuki counted them nervously. It was going to be close. When all the votes were counted, the result was announced. The motion passes by a margin of 7 votes. The coalition will extend an offer of membership and protection to humanity. Captain Yuki felt tears of joy running down her face. But then the speaker continued. However, before we can offer protection, humanity must be free. The Council authorizes the formation of a liberation fleet. The chamber exploded in cheers and arguments. Some people were happy, others were angry. Chancellor Vex stood up one last time. This is a mistake. We are risking everything for people we barely know. Ambassador Borum replied firmly. We are not risking everything. We are investing in everything. Today we prove that the coalition stands for more than just words. As Captain Yuki left the chamber, she felt both excited and scared. The Council had agreed to help humanity, but now came the hard part. They had to actually do it. And they had to do it before more humans like Hana suffered and died as slaves. Admiral Hyun stood in the command center of the coalition's largest space station. Around him, dozens of officers from different worlds worked at control panels. On the main screen, he could see the biggest fleet in coalition history. But he was worried. How many ships does the Dominion have? He asked his aide. Our intelligence says at least 3 times more than us, came the reply. And their ships are designed for war. Ours are designed for exploration and peace. Admiral Hyun had been a soldier for 40 years. He had fought in small conflicts, but never anything like this. The coalition had been peaceful for so long that most of their military knowledge came from old books. Sir, said a young officer, Captain Yuki is here to see you. Admiral Hyun turned as Captain Yuki entered the command center. She looked determined, but tired. Captain, he said, I hope you have good news. I might, she replied. I have been thinking about what makes humans special. Maybe we can use that to help us win. Explain. Captain Yuki activated a portable screen. Humans are not just tough. They are also very creative. They can solve problems in ways other species never think of. How does that help us fight a war? What if we do not fight a traditional war? What if we arm the humans and let them fight for themselves? Admiral Hyun frowned. The humans are slaves. They do not have weapons or ships. But they have something. More important, said Captain Yuki. They have the will to be free, and they know the Dominion better than we do. On the other side of the station, Pilot Tae was preparing his stealth ship for a dangerous mission. His job was to sneak into Dominion territory and deliver weapons to human slaves. Are you sure this will work? Asked his co-pilot, a nervous, young engineer named Woo Jin. No, said Tae honestly. But it is our best chance. They had loaded their ship with coalition weapons that had been modified for human use. Dr. Minho had studied human anatomy to make sure the weapons would fit their hands properly. Remember, said Tae as they prepared to leave, we are not just delivering weapons, we are delivering hope. Meanwhile, in the Kepler mining sector, Hana was back to working in the terrible conditions of the asteroid mines. But something was different. She had been sending secret messages to other human workers. Did you hear? Whispered Junho, a maintenance worker who fixed mining equipment. Someone is coming to help us. Who? Asked Hana. I do not know. But the word is spreading to all the camps. Someone called the coalition wants to set us free. Hana felt her heart jump. Captain Yuki had kept her promise. That night, when the guards were not watching, human workers began gathering in secret groups. They had been slaves for so long that many had forgotten what freedom felt like. But now, for the first time in decades, they had hope. What do we do when help arrives? When help? Asked Yunji, who had been a soldier before Earth was conquered. We fight, said Hana simply. We fight for our freedom and for our families. Across 17 star systems, similar conversations were happening in human slave camps. The word was spreading faster than the Dominion could stop it. Te-Quote's stealth ship reached the first camp 3 days later. Using signals that Hana had taught them, they contacted the human workers. This is Coalition Pilot Te, he broadcast on a hidden frequency. We have weapons and supplies for you. The response came quickly. This is Hana. We are ready. Under the cover of darkness, Te's ship approached the mining station. They could not land, so they had to be creative. Launch the supply pods, ordered Te. Small containers shot out of their ship toward the asteroid. The human workers had prepared for this. Teams of them were waiting in hidden areas. Inside the pods were not just weapons, but also communication devices, medical supplies, and something else. Food from Earth that Dr. Minho had somehow found. When Hana opened one of the containers and saw real bread from her home world, she started crying. How did they get this? She asked. Junho read the note attached to the food. It says, from Dr. Minho and the crew of the Harmony's Edge. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. The same scene was playing out at camps across the galaxy. Human slaves were receiving weapons and hope from coalition forces. But the Dominion was not sleeping. Sir, reported a Dominion intelligence officer to his commander, we are detecting unusual activity in the slave camps. Commander Korax was a brutal soldier who had been in charge of human slaves for 20 years. What kind of activity? The humans seemed to be organizing, and our sensors detected some ships that disappeared quickly. Double the guards, ordered Korax, and prepare to move the most valuable humans to more secure locations. But it was too late. The revolution had already begun. At mining station Kepler 7, Hana looked around at her fellow workers. They were holding coalition weapons and wearing determined expressions. Remember, she told them, we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every human who has suffered under Dominion rule. The attack began at exactly the same time across all 17 star systems. It had been coordinated using the communication devices the coalition had provided. At Kepler 7, the humans struck the guard stations first. Years of working with dangerous equipment had taught them to be precise and careful. They disabled the security systems without damaging the life support. Junho had modified some mining equipment into weapons, just like the coalition had hoped. The cutting tools designed to break through rock worked very well against Dominion armor. The main control room is secured, reported Yunji over the communication system. We have control of the station. Similar reports came in from other camps. The humans were not just fighting, they were winning. But the real test came when Dominion reinforcements arrived. Incoming ships, warned someone on the communication system. Looks like a full battle fleet. The humans in space stations and asteroid bases could not fight warships, but they had something the Dominion did not expect. Coalition backup. Admiral Hyun's fleet had been waiting at the edge of each star system. When the Dominion ships moved to attack the liberated camps, the coalition forces struck. The space battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Coalition ships used tactics they had learned from studying humans, unpredictable, creative, and brave. But the real surprise came when captured. Dominion ships suddenly turned and began attacking their former comrades. What is happening? Demanded Commander Korax from his flagship. Sir, the humans we had as prisoners on our ships have taken control. They are using our own vessels against us. Korax could not believe it. How did slaves take over military ships? He got his answer when he heard a familiar voice on the communication system. Commander Korax, this is Hana. Do you remember me? I fixed your communication equipment for 3 years. How did you escape your prison camp? demanded Korax. I did not escape, replied Hana. I chose to return so I could learn everything about your ships and systems. Now I am using that knowledge to free my people. The tide of battle turned quickly. Dominion forces found themselves fighting not just coalition ships, but their own, vessels operated by humans who knew their weaknesses. The Battle of Nova Station was the turning point. A group of human prisoners led by Hana held off an entire Dominion fleet, using nothing but mining drones and captured equipment. How are they doing this? Asked a coalition officer watching the battle. They are doing what humans do best, replied Admiral Hyun. They are adapting and surviving. The fighting lasted for 6 days across 17 star systems. When it was over, every human slave camp had been liberated. Commander Korax was captured trying to escape in a damaged ship. When they brought him before Admiral Hyun, he had only one question. How did you defeat us? We had more ships and better weapons. Admiral Hyun looked at Hana, who was standing nearby with other human leaders. We did not defeat you, he said. They did. We just gave them the tools. The courage and determination were theirs. Korax stared at Hana. You were just a maintenance worker. No, said Hana firmly. I was never just anything. I was a human being who refused to give up. As the smoke cleared from the last battle, Captain Yuki received a message on the Harmony's edge. Captain, said Gina, I am getting signals from Earthy. What do they say? Gina smiled as she translated. They say, thank you for remembering us. We are ready to come home. 6 months after the liberation, Captain Yuki stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital station. Below her, the blue and green planet looked more beautiful than any world she had ever seen. Hard to believe this used to be a slave world, said Dr. Minho, joining her at the window. It was never really a slave world, replied Captain Yuki. The Dominion controlled the surface, but they could never control the human spirit. Around them, the station buzzed with activity. Humans and coalition species worked side by side, planning the restoration of Earth and the integration of humanity into galactic society. Hana walked up to them, carrying a datapad filled with reports. She looked different now, healthier, happier, and wearing the uniform of a coalition engineering officer. The latest reports from the restoration teams, she said, handing the pad to Captain Yuki. The air purification systems are working better than expected. The oceans are getting cleaner every day. Captain Yuki read through the reports with amazement. These numbers are incredible. How are you fixing things so fast? Hana smiled. You gave us coalition technology, but we use it in ways you never thought of. Human engineering is about making things work even when they should not. Dr. Minho looked at his own medical reports. The health improvements are remarkable too. Humans who were sick from years of dangerous work are getting better much faster than I predicted. We heal quickly when we have hope, said Hana. Through the station windows, they could see shuttles flying back and forth between the orbital platform and Earth's surface. Each one carried supplies, equipment, and humans who were seeing their homeworld for the first time in decades. How many humans have returned so far? Asked Captain Yuki. Almost 50 million, replied Hana, but many others have chosen to stay. In the colonies, we are building on other worlds. This was something that had surprised the coalition. When offered the chance to return to Earth, many humans had decided to stay in space. They wanted to build new communities on the worlds where they had been slaves. Why do they not want to come home? Dr. Minho had asked. Because those places are home now too, Hana had explained. We learned to survive there. Now we want to make them better. The coalition had been amazed by this attitude. Most rescued species wanted only to return to their original homes. But humans seemed to see opportunity everywhere. On the planet's surface, former slave camps were being transformed into thriving cities. The Kepler mining sector had become one of the most productive industrial centers in the galaxy. But now the workers were free and well-paid. Junho had become the chief engineer of the Kepler complex. He still worked with the same dangerous equipment, but now he did it by choice and had the best safety equipment in the galaxy. The difference is amazing, he told visitors. We always knew how to do the work. Now we know why we are doing it. Yunji had joined the coalition military and was training other species in human tactics. Her first lesson was always the same. Humans fight differently because we fight for something, not just against something. The integration had not been without problems. Some coalition species were nervous about human abilities. Others worried that humans might become aggressive after years of oppression. But those fears were quickly proven wrong. At the Coalition Medical Academy, Dr. Minho was giving a lecture to students from across the galaxy. Human medicine teaches us something important, he explained. Humans heal best when they are helping others heal too. He showed them footage of human doctors working in coalition hospitals. They were using their knowledge of surviving in dangerous conditions to treat patients that other species could not help. A human doctor can work in environments that would kill other medics, he continued. But more importantly, they never give up on a patient, even when the situation seems hopeless. One of his students, a young Altarian, raised her hand. Professor, why are humans so determined to help others even after what they suffered? Dr. Minho thought for a moment. I think it is because they understand suffering, and they know that the best way to heal from pain is to prevent others from feeling it. In the Coalition Council chambers, humanity's first representative was being sworn in. Ambassador Borum conducted the ceremony, proud that she had supported human liberation from the beginning. Do you, Hana of Earth, promise to represent humanity's interests while supporting the greater good of the Coalition, she asked. I do, replied Hana, and I promise that humanity will never forget that the Coalition rescued us when no one else would. The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Millions of beings watched as the newest member species joined the Coalition family. Chancellor Vex, who had opposed human liberation, approached Hana after the ceremony. Ambassador Hana, he said formally, I want to apologize. I was wrong to oppose helping your people. Hana looked at him with understanding, not anger. Chancellor Vex, you were afraid of war. That is natural. But sometimes the right choice is not the safe choice. Your people have taught us that, he admitted. In 6 months, humans have contributed more to the Coalition than some species have in centuries. It was true. Human innovations were improving life across the galaxy. Their ability to work in dangerous environments had opened up new possibilities for exploration and resource gathering. Their medical knowledge was saving lives of many species. But most importantly, their attitude was changing how the Coalition thought about problems. Humans do not accept that things cannot be done, reported the Coalition Science Council. When we say something is impossible, they ask why. When we explain the problems, they find solutions. Captain Yuki was reading this report in her new office. She had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Relations partly because of her role in discovering humanity. Captain, said Gina, who was still her communications officer, we are getting a message from long-range sensors. What kind of message? It is a distress signal from beyond the galactic rim. Captain Yuki felt her heart race. What does it say? Gina worked on her translation equipment. It is not in any language we know, but the pattern looks like it might be from another enslaved species. Within hours, the Coalition had assembled a new exploration fleet, but this time it was different. Half the ships were crewed by humans, and the mission commander was Admiral Hana, formerly just a maintenance worker, now one of the Coalition's most respected leaders. Are you ready for another rescue mission? Captain Yuki asked her old friend. Always, replied Hana. We know what it feels like to be forgotten. We will never let that happen to anyone else. The fleet launched toward the unknown signal. They jumped into hyperspace. Captain Yuki thought about how much had changed. A year ago, they had found one desperate human in a broken ship. That single rescue had led to the liberation of an entire species and changed the Coalition forever. Do you think we will find more slaves out there? Asked Dr. Minho. Probably, said Captain Yuki. But now we know what to do about it. She looked at the mixed crew working around her. Humans, Villani, Altarians, and dozens of other species working together as equals. We learned something important from humanity, she continued. True strength is not about surviving alone. It is about making sure no one has to. Hana's voice came over the ship's communication system as they traveled toward the mysterious signal. "Weo, crew members," she announced. "This is Admiral Hana. We do not know what we will find out there. But we know who we are. We are the people who believe that everyone deserves to be free." Captain Yuki smiled as she listened to her friend. Once Hana had been a prisoner floating in the darkness of space. Now she was leading a fleet to help others who might be in the same situation. "We rescued one human," Captain Yuki said to herself. "And look what happened." Through the viewport, stars streaked past as the Coalition fleet raced toward another species that needed help. Behind them, Earth glowed blue and green and free in the light of its sun dot. Humanity had taught the galaxy an important lesson. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from being strong enough to stand alone, but from being brave enough to help. Others stand with you. The rescue mission continued, and it always would.